Take your mind into the wonderful world of physical, emotional, psychological, and spiritual wellness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Hour. Conversations with you and guests. With your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. That's me. All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Kinetic Hour. I am your host, Kenan Wesley Mason. Welcome one, welcome all. Thank you for tuning in to the Kinetic Hour. As always, it's greatly appreciated for all of you that choose to tune in. There's plenty of podcasts that you can tune into, so thank you to all of you that tune into the Kinetic Hour. We are streaming live on Instagram, streaming live on Facebook, and streaming live on LinkedIn. So welcome to all three platforms. This episode, I'm going to, before we do that, go to my YouTube channels. Go to my YouTube channels and subscribe. Click thumbs up. Leave your comments. Click the notifications. Click the notifications. The first is right here, the Kinetic Hour, and that is KENNETIC, the Kinetic Hour. And also Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info. Kinetic Fit and Wellness Info for everything health related. Mental health, physical health, emotional health, spiritual health. It's all inclusive. Interviews that I've done of people that have interviewed me. So it's a variety of content and information that you might find useful, just like here. So go to my YouTube channels and subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. This episode, I'm going to wrap up this series on cancer awareness. I've kind of stretched it for a while because I've been doing other shows because it's been political season over the last few months. And since we're heading into the end of this year and going into a new year in just a few days, I wanted to wrap this series on cancer awareness. And another thing regarding this, because this is part 4. This is part 4 of this series, the finale. until I do another series on cancer with more information. But because part 3 was removed from YouTube, and because part 3 of this series was removed for this cancer series, and also part of my series on, actually no, this wasn't for the mental health. They removed the show that I did regarding Robert Kennedy and his proposals for making some changes within the healthcare industry, or the medical care industry, or the pharmacy industry. So 2 of my videos were removed within a month of each other because of what they deem as me giving you medical misinformation. That's what they say. That's the claim, that I'm violating not only YouTube guidelines, but violating the guidelines or the authority of the World Health Organization and their terminology regarding cancer. and regarding inoculations as well. So 2 of my videos were removed. So because of that, I made a decision that I'm going to, uh, in conjunction with posting my shows on YouTube, I'm going to start posting my shows on Rumble starting in January on Rumble, because Rumble is more lenient when it comes to information not being suppressed, or censored from the general public, because of all these guidelines that all these 3-letter entities give the notion that they know everything when it comes to health and wellness matters. So I'll be going to Rumble starting in January, which may include some of the shows. Actually, it will include some of the shows that were either removed from YouTube, and also possibly I'll put up some previous episodes of Aim to Purpose, the radio show, because many of those shows were removed as well because of some of the guests, some of the guests that were on our show that spoke of information that's contrary to the authority, again, the authority of entities like the World Health Organization, the Food and Drug Administration, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Those are the big 3. The American Medical Association, that's another one. The American Cancer Society, that's another one. They are in the information suppressing business, obviously, because I'm not the only one that's had information removed from YouTube. So, because we live in a country of free speech, or at least that's been the notion in writing over the last, 250 years, that we have freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to assemble and protest. So I will not only do what I can to bring the information here to YouTube, whatever the guidelines allow, but also on Rumble, on Rumble, because I'll be able to speak more freely to the general public who may want to have some different opinions, or alternative opinions, or a second or third opinion regarding health matters. Because especially here in America, the belief is that we know everything about medicine, but at the same time, there is no cure for anything. That's been the duality of the healthcare industry. We know all the shit about health and wellness, or about medicine, but there's no cure for anything. You name the disease, there's no cure for this. We can only manage it. That's been the collective belief system here in America, that when you have a health condition or illness condition, all allopathic medicine can do for you is to help you manage it, not help you to make it go away forever by learning about the root cause. No, we want you to have it forever. So we're going to prescribe these respective medications to you that you can get a refill every 30 days and take these every day or every other day for the rest of your life, with no ending in sight for you as a patient, or as a person that has an illness condition or some kind of internal malfunction in your body. Not even to mention all the mental disorders that have been identified, all the behavior patterns that have been clinically identified, because behavior is a disease, or that's the notion that's given to the general public. So I'm going to be posting my shows on Rumble starting in January. So now, as I give this presentation to you on this, which will probably be the final episode of this year, um, because we only have a few more days of this year going into the next year. So, hence the reason why I'm doing this final episode on cancer awareness series, cancer awareness. So, from the first episode, a beginning episode, predominantly regarding breast cancer. So I talked about breast cancer in depth, read an article was that I posted on YouTube back in 2011, 2012, and reposted. Uh, the last repost was in 2014, with updates and modifications. So I've been reading that, and I actually finished it in episode 3, but because it was flagged, the viewers didn't get to see that specific episode. So I'll have to present it in an exclusive manner to those that want to see it. And I'll post it on Rumble as well. I'll post it on Rumble. So this episode, I'm going to go over some solutions, and before the solutions, I'm going to go over some of the costs, because when it comes to a cancer diagnosis, because cancer is a $300 billion conglomerate, that means that cancer is big business. And because cancer is big business, I'm going to put up just put up some numbers for all of you to just consider some numbers, and I'm going to read some information regarding cancer and also the financial costs. Oh gosh, as we see right here on the screen here, the average cost of chemotherapy can vary widely depending on a number of factors, including the type of cancer, stage of disease, number of treatments, duration of treatment, type of chemotherapy, treatment setting or location, geographical location, and your health insurance, which is the big one. Actually, health insurance should be first because, again, how you get treated is predicated on the type of insurance you have at the time of diagnosis. So the average cost depends on these factors. So as we come out of there, we go to another piece of data here. So let's see here. We're going to go here. So it says health insurance. And these are some other factors that people need to consider when discussing chemotherapy and cancer. Health insurance. Type of health insurance a patient has affects how much they pay out of pocket for chemotherapy. For example, with health insurance, a patient can expect to pay 10 to 15% of chemo costs out of pocket. Medicare. Medicare provides coverage for chemotherapy, but patients still have to pay up to 20% of the costs out of pocket. Stage of disease. The stage of cancer affects the cost of treatment. So, meaning if you have a stage 1, won't cost as much because the treatments won't have to be as invasive. Then you have then you have stage 2 and 3, which are more in their intermediate stage, and then you have stage 4, which will more than likely have to bring more invasive treatments according to standard allopathic oncology. So the stage of cancer affects the cost of the treatment. For example, breast cancer treatment costs are higher for more advanced stages of the disease. And then you see here at the bottom right here, says the American Cancer Society predicts that the cost of cancer-related care will increase by 34% by 2030. 34%. 34% by 2030. Not that cancer will be reduced by 34%. No, the costs are going to go up by 34% by 2030. That's in 5 years. That's in 5 years. The cost of cancer care is going to go up. Cancer-related care, as you see right here. 34%. The cost of cancer-related care is going to go up 34%. But the general public still believes that chemotherapy is the one and only way of treatment or care for cancer. Chemotherapy. So, as we go to the next slide, the next slide. So we're going to go right here. The next slide. So, as we see right here, the average cost of chemotherapy varies widely and depends on many factors, including the type of cancer. The type of cancer being treated affects the cost of chemotherapy. Chemotherapy drug, the cost of the chemotherapy drug can range from $1,000 to $12,000 per month. Per month. Per month. Number of treatments. The number of chemotherapy sessions a patient needs affects the total cost. Treatment setting. The setting in which the chemotherapy is administered can affect the cost. For example, chemotherapy administered in an outpatient setting is typically more expensive than chemotherapy administered in physician's office. Well, of course. And that goes for any type of treatment that's administered in home or in another outside source outside of a hospital or clinical facility. So the cost is always going to be more as an outpatient. But right here, as you can see, chemotherapy drug, the chemotherapy drip that most of the general public love defending and favoring so much, the cost of the chemotherapy drug can range from $1,000 per month to $12,000 per month, depending on the stage of cancer that your cancer is detected. $12,000 per month. Illness conditions and being ill is expensive, as opposed to being healthy or being healthier can become more and more less expensive. Being healthy. So as we come out of here, $12,000 per month for cancer treatments, for chemotherapy that we collectively defend to the end of the plank. I guess we love chemotherapy. No matter how many of our loved ones and relatives we take to these clinics to get chemotherapy treatments, and then we see what the results are. And some people say, yeah, I'm still alive, so that's all that matters. Yeah, you're right. What's your quality of living after you remain alive? What's your quality of living? How does your body feel? How does your body feel after rounds and rounds and rounds of chemotherapy? Rounds and rounds. I haven't even gotten to radiation yet. But chemotherapy, I mean, we've been thoroughly conditioned to defend chemotherapy at all costs. So I'm going to go to the next slide. More chemotherapy costs. More chemotherapy costs as we go right here. Here are some average costs for chemotherapy, monthly costs of chemo drugs. The average monthly cost of chemo drugs can range from $1,000 to $12,000, as I just read previously. Cost of a 6-month course of chemotherapy. A 2016 study found the average cost of a 6-month course of chemotherapy to be almost $27,000. Cost of outpatient-based chemotherapy. In 2020, the average spending on outpatient-based chemotherapy was $17,000 plus. $17,000 plus. $493 to be exact. The cost of office-based chemotherapy in 2020, the average spending on office-based chemotherapy was $6,000, nearly $7,000, $7,000 for office-based chemotherapy. And again, you read the statistic from the American Cancer Society on the 34% increase of chemotherapy costs by 2030. I mean, are you willing to pay $27,000 over a 6-month period or $12,000 per month for cancer treatment? Or would you rather find the root cause of your cancer, respectively, and learn what you can do to rid yourself of cancer without going into possible financial ruin? I mean, cancer and diabetes and heart disease, those are the big three in America. I've said it time and time again. People go into financial debt over these illnesses, over these conditions, not only because of your visits for treatments like this, but also for the multiple prescriptions that are administered. The prescriptions, those costs, and we just got over political season where we know that every 4 years, the political cycle, we're always talking about healthcare and the cost of prescription drugs. So, for those of you, that um, aren't open to any other non-invasive options, this is what you have to look forward to within the next 5 years. For those of you that may develop cancer, which I don't wish that upon anybody, um, I've talked about my brother on several occasions with his cancer diagnosis. And actually, I'm going to do a whole show on his update because a lot of things have transpired within the last month with him. And it relates to his cancer diagnosis. So, for those that defend chemotherapy because that's all they've been exposed to, this is what you have to look forward to: 34% increase and an average cost of $12,000 per month for chemical therapy and other cancer care treatments. Oh gosh, it's amazing. This is the great cancer industry conglomerate, $300 billion in revenue annually. So let's see, where are we going to go? Let's see. Are we going to go here? No, we're going to go here first. So we're going to go here. Now, that's just for chemotherapy. Now, the other side of cancer, or the other standard treatment of cancer, is synthetic radiation or high frequency X-rays. So I'm going to put this on the screen. Oh, it's amazing. But this is our healthcare system that many of us here in America buy into through our insurance. I mean, we literally buy into the beast. We purchase and buy into it. So we continue to feed the beast through health insurance. And we know that most health insurance companies, if not all of them, they don't care whether you get well or not. I mean, look at what happened to the United Healthcare CEO. You know, it's unfortunate that that happened, and I don't wish that upon anyone. There's always a different solution for those that have gripes with the healthcare system. I know I do. I have many gripes with the healthcare system, not only when it comes to cancer, but when it comes to the mental health system as well. I have my gripes, but I'm not going to go and assassinate one of the CEOs of United Healthcare, right? Or Aetna or Kaiser, right? What am I going to gain out of that? What is the general public going to gain from that? What are they going to gain? You know, Aflac and all of these insurance companies. It's unfortunate that that happened, but there's always a different way to um, make your grievances known when it comes to the healthcare system. So right here, the cost of radiation. The cost of radiation. So right here it says the cost of radiation therapy can vary depending on the type of treatment, its duration, and where you receive it. On average, a cost of radiation therapy can cost between $4,500 and $50,000. And this is the standard. This is the standard treatment protocol. Standard. Chemotherapy, radiation. These are the standards. And what have been the results over the last 50 years since we've had the, quote, official war on cancer? I mean, there's been an official war on cancer. It's been signed, sealed, and documented by former President Richard Nixon. What do they call it? The National Cancer Act of 1971. I could be wrong in the wording or verbiage, but paraphrasing, that's what it is. So $4,500 and $50,000. But the median cost for specific types of cancer is breast cancer, $8,600, with an inner quartile range of $7,300 to $10,300. Lung cancer, you see the numbers there, from $9,000 up to $11,000. Prostate cancer, anywhere from $18,000 to $25,000. Radiation, not going out under the sun and having your body absorb sun rays, that's radiation. Actually, it's the most powerful radiation that we know. I mean, it makes the grass and the trees and the flowers grow, right? And the herbs and everything else. The sun makes that happen. So why are we choosing to spend up to $50,000 for high-powered X-rays? Why? Factors that can affect the cost of radiation therapy include type of treatment, duration of treatment, location, health insurance coverage, practice type, and radiation therapy provider. Insurance typically covers a large portion of the cost of radiation therapy for most patients. Medicare Part A covers radiation therapy for hospital inpatients. For hospital inpatients. So again, these are the factors that come into play when it comes to the cost of radiation treatment, chemotherapy treatment. I mean, these treatments are expensive, whether you have insurance or not. They're expensive. But we keep going to these protocols because they're the standard, and this is all we've known for 50 plus years. 50 years. This is what we've been conditioned with. I mean, it's almost like indoctrination, if anything. Indoctrination. I mean, earlier in the year, you see this right here. Earlier this year, I talked about the statistic for Black women and breast cancer. And this is coming from the American Cancer Society as well. And you can go and watch that show on my YouTube channel, The Kinetic Hour. Black women and breast cancer. Black women are 41% more likely to die from breast cancer than white women. But I went even further to say that Black women, and all women for that matter, are more likely to die from the cancer treatments, such as the ones that I've been highlighting. Chemotherapy and radiation. Chemotherapy and radiation. But we keep taking our loved ones into the cancer institutions. So now that we have that, I want to talk about this because this has been getting some controversy, or it's been a controversial topic for a number of years. And it's something that we rarely hear about in the mainstream. But I'm going to just highlight this just for a few as we go into some of the alternatives on how we can perceive our cancer diagnosis. So right here, an alternative to the mammogram, and I've spoken about this before on occasion. Thermogram, the thermogram. So how much does thermograms cost? The average cost of the thermogram. So the cost of a thermogram can vary depending on the type of scan and where you get it. But it usually ranges from $150 to $250. Thermography is not typically covered by insurance, which I'll get to in a minute, but some private health insurance plans may cover part of all of the costs. You may also be able to submit a claim to your insurance company for possible reimbursement. Here are some examples. Here are some examples of thermogram costs. Breast thermogram, the average cost is around, as I just mentioned above, $175 to $250 for a thermogram test or scan. Full body thermogram or thermography, a full body thermography scan can cost around $395. Comprehensive men's health assessment. This head-to-toe thermal imaging study can cost around $420. Thermography is a non-invasive procedure that uses thermal imaging to show inflammation in the body. It can be used to assess and monitor pain, infections, joint degeneration, soft tissue injuries, nerve pain, and more. And more. And many people have used thermography as a detection for not only cancer, but for virtually any and all illness. Because when you know how your thermostat works inside your body, all of us have a heating system and a cooling system, right? All of us internally have an internal heater and an internal air conditioner. All of us. And all of us have different, as you see in the picture right here with the hands, you see the different color of the hands, which shows an image of the frequency density of energy in the hands. You see the red and yellow and different colors of blue. I mean, this represents the light spectrum or energy spectrum that's within all of us. It's within all of us. And this is how you can detect discrepancies within the body, whether it's cancer or any other illness, or quote, inflammation. Inflammation. Cancer can create inflammation. So thermograms as opposed to mammograms. So I'm going to put this next I'm going to put this next slide up here. And I'm going to go here because again, these are about solutions that you can at least consider. You can at least consider. Whether you choose to go this route or not is totally at your discretion. So the cost of thermograms can vary. Oh, let me get out of there. Oh no, this is it. No, let me get out of there. Okay, we're here. So is thermography or thermograms FDA approved? And we interviewed Brenda Pierce. Matter of fact, I need to interview Brenda Pierce. I'm going to do the best I can to get her to come on the show as well. So we can discuss this in depth because we interviewed her almost, 10 years ago now. And we discussed this, thermograms. So to answer the question, is thermography FDA approved? Yes, the FDA has approved thermography, but only as an adjunctive tool, meaning it should be used in conjunction with a primary diagnostic test like mammography. The FDA has issued warnings against thermography, but it's FDA approved since 1982, as we'll read at the bottom. The FDA has issued warnings against thermography being used as a standard or as a standalone screening or diagnostic tool for breast cancer. The FDA has taken action against manufacturers who market thermography devices as an alternative to mammography. Now, why are they doing that? The FDA has also asked healthcare providers to educate patients about the limits of thermography and to discourage its use for breast cancer screening or diagnosis. Now, why is the FDA doing that? Well, could it be that thermogram scans are more accurate in their detection of malfunctions in the body, and it will tap into the financial status of mammograms, women getting their annual mammograms, where they're having their breast tissue squashed with up to 60 pounds of pressure annually. And then while you're getting zapped full of synthetic radiation, these high power frequencies, versus something that's more non-invasive, something that you'll never feel, something that'll never have any quote side effects, right? Because there are none with thermograms. I mean, thermal detection is what the military uses to detect people in the dark. Thermography uses an infrared camera to measure skin temperature. It fell behind other screening tools like mammography and ultrasound in 1977, and the medical community lost interest in it. The FDA approved thermography in 1982 to help evaluate breast tumors. Breast tumors. But thermography isn't just about detecting breast cancer, it's about detecting all cancers if there's a discrepancy in the body based on heat production or lack of heat production. Because the body temperature changes when there's foreign invaders. It just does. This is why you have fevers. This is why your body temperature raises. This is your body responding. This is what it's supposed to do, respond. Because your body wants nothing better than to keep you alive for 100 years plus. That's the functioning of the body, to keep you alive at all costs. At all costs. Even for those that have chemotherapy and radiation, the body is going to do whatever it takes to keep you alive, even after being bombarded with these barbaric treatments. I mean, no one is supposed to lose all of their hair follicles due to radiation, or not be able to eat their favorite foods because of chemotherapy and radiation, because it literally changes the entire vibration of the entire body. It just does. And there's no denying it. There should be no discrepancy to that, or no argument or rebuttal to it. I mean, the body knows its natural order. It knows what's supposed to be there, and it knows what's not supposed to be there. The body knows. The body knows more than me. The body knows more than you. The human body knows more than the oncologist. So when we give the body a body full of synthetic chemistry, then the body's going to respond accordingly. It just is. As I go to this slide right here. So there's, again, like I said, there's been discrepancies. There's been different people that have said different things about thermography. Like here, thermography is not an effective screening tool to detect cancer in its early stages. It can only indicate changes that may need further investigation, such as large tumors. The FDA does not recommend using thermography in place of a mammogram for breast cancer screening or diagnosis. Here are some limitations to thermography. Limitations. So, cancer, or let's see, it cannot detect early stage cancer. Thermography cannot detect cancer that is at the local stage, only large tumors. It cannot assess lymph nodes. Thermography cannot assess potentially cancerous activity in nearby lymph nodes like mammograms can. Well, again, I can definitely say something contrary to that, but I'll keep moving. Thermography can detect changes that are not cancerous. Thermography can show changes in heat and vascular features, but it does not show how the breast has changed. has changed. Well, if the heat production changes and the inflammation rate changes, it can detect that. That's a change, not in in its formation or a possible deformity. No, that's not what thermography is for. Medical insurance often does not cover. Medical insurance often does not cover the cost of thermography. Thermography, also called infrared imaging, uses infrared cameras to record the temperature profiles of the breast. And this is just specifically talking about breast cancer. The theory behind thermography is that breast cancers are hypermetabolic, meaning they take up more blood, flow. They take up more blood flow. So again, these are some of the discrepancies that are said to be why thermograms should not be considered. Why thermograms should not be considered, as opposed to why thermograms should be considered. And as you can see, only the FDA is giving opposition to thermograms. Only the FDA. That's how much power they have in the health and medical industry. That's how much power they have. I mean, thermograms have been approved since 1982, but insurance companies won't cover it. I mean, what did you approve it for if it's not effective? There has to be something to it. I mean, more and more people are going to thermograms as another option for their cancer treatments as I come out of there. So now I'm going to highlight, because again, we're talking about solutions, talking about solutions for cancer. And a few weeks back, when I knew that part 3 of this series was going to be removed, or when I found out that it was removed, because I knew that I was going to do this episode, I was researching and looking for facilities that specialize in non-toxic or non-invasive treatments. And there's plenty of them in America and abroad. So I'm going to highlight this one facility. In post-production, I'm going to put up a number of facilities, because at the end of part 3 of this series, I did post facilities that you may want to consider if you or someone that you know has a cancer diagnosis, because there are facilities in the world that treat and heal cancer without all of the toxic chemistry, So I'm just going to put this up here, and this is just one facility. And as I put this up, just know that I'm not being paid to endorse this facility. This is just one of many, and this is the first one that came up that I looked at. So we're going to go here. So this here is called the City of, I almost said the City of Hope, which is not too far from here, the City of Hope, but that's not the facility that I'm referring to, as you see on the screen. Right here, this is called Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers. Hope for Cancer Treatment Centers. And as you can see here, it says non-toxic cancer therapies, science-based and effective. Science-based and effective, because here in America, again, we've been so indoctrinated with so much terminology. Here in America, we love hearing the terms clinically proven and scientifically proven. We love hearing those terms. Or FDA approved. Those are the terms that we love to hear. So as you can see, it says science-based and effective cancer treatments. hope for cancer treatment centers. So I'm just going to scroll down here because I just want to go over right here. It says the 7 key principles, non-toxic therapies. So I'm just going to go over here, the non-toxic therapies that all of us may want to consider, because there are alternatives that are out there that should be considered. They should be considered, at least considered. Again, if you choose to go to the standard oncology based therapies of chemotherapy and radiation, you're more than free to do that. But for those that have seen the results with their loved ones, and they know and understand and they're open to other options, well, this is one right here. So the first option, as we see to the left, right there, light and sound therapies. Light and sound therapies. The interaction of matter and energy lies at the very foundation of our physical existence. We leverage biochemical reactions that we can trigger with specific sound and light wavelengths to kill cancer cells and activate the body's immune system. And here you see these 3 here. I won't go in all of them. Anyone can go to the website if you want more information, because again, I'm not getting paid to highlight this specific center. But here you can see the type of treatments that are given for light and sound therapy. Sonophoto dynamic therapy, photodynamic therapy plus, and near infrared lamp therapy. And I'm glad that one was first, because thermal energy therapies. I'll read this one too. Cancer, because I want to highlight some things that I have here. Thermal energy therapies. Cancer is known as a cold disease. As it turns down the body's thermostat to temperatures that favor cancer cells and are metabolically unfavorable for our healthy cells. Artificial fevers can destabilize cancer cells, which forms the basis of thermal energy based therapies. So you see here, local hyperthermia, full body hyperthermia, near infrared lamp therapy, and near infrared sauna therapy. And so because of those two, I just happen to have a few things in my arsenal of treatments. I have a device right here that I got during the pandemic. It's called Clinic Red. It's infrared. As you can see right here, it's very, very bright. It's very, very bright. Do not look directly into this here because it's bright. But you can use this device for local treatment on certain aches or discomforts that you may feel in the body. You just kind of place it. Anywhere, and you just leave it there for a certain amount of time, maybe 5 or 10 minutes at a time. And you're not going to feel anything. This is just high-powered infrared lighting, or what they call lamp therapy, as we see right here. But this is just one example of one of the treatments that can be used. This is used for more local. And then I have this right here from DNA Vibe, which I'll show here. This is from DNA Vibe here. It's an infrared device that you have to use the DNA Vibe app, which I'll demonstrate quickly. So you see this is part of the app right here on my cell phone, and all the configurations are already set. So when I push start, this is what happens. So you see this here light up, and it's actually vibrating as well. You can probably hear the vibration sound. So this is just an example of the type of treatments that can and are being used to treat not only cancer, but other malfunctions and ailments of the body. As I turn this off here. But yes, infrared. Infrared. Obviously, there's always been something to infrared. Infrared saunas are always recommended. Infrared saunas are always recommended. But you typically won't see these type of treatments in your standard um, cancer clinic, cancer treatment facility. Bioimmunotherapies. Now, some people may have heard of these bioimmunotherapies. So, despite all the genetic and epigenetic pressures, we do not get cancer most of our lives because of our immune systems. Cancer is, in essence, a failure of the immune system to regulate abnormal cellular growth. Described here are a variety of strategies to restore immunocompetence and reverse the cancer disease process. Not with chemotherapy, not with the drip, or not with that type of drip. I mean, Dr. Leonard Caldwell has always said that the origins of chemotherapy come from mustard gas, and we know mustard gas was used during chemical warfare. As we go to a few others here. Biological intravenous therapies. We deliver high doses of specialized nutrients intravenously with a variety of specific biological actions, including potent anti-cancer activity, immune modulation, and nutrient replenishment that restores essential building blocks that the body may be missing. And as you can see here, vitamin C IV therapy, then a therapy that more than likely got part 3 of this series removed from YouTube because I mentioned right here IV therapy, and obviously that doesn't mesh with the authority of the World Health Organization, but obviously it works at this facility. And then you have poly MVA supplementation, because cancer, as we know, as we're going to read with this next one, actually, I'm just going to read it and then make my statement. Cancer, as we go into oxygen therapies, cancer and pathogenic states are characterized by hypoxia, i.e., a lack of oxygen at the cellular level. Hypoxia. This lack of oxygen can drive cells to unfavorably alter their metabolic processes. The Warburg effect, meaning Otto Warburg, who won a Nobel Prize for proving that cancer, along with Max Planck in the early 1900s and the 1930s, proved that cancer cannot exist in an oxygen-rich environment. It's been proven over and over and over and over and over again. Besides improving metabolism, oxygen is important to activate cancer-specific sensitizers with sound and light wavelengths. So photodynamic therapy plus hyperbaric oxygen therapy and ozone therapy. And many people use ozone in their swimming pools to keep their swimming pools clean and clear versus using chlorine, which is a poison. Chlorine Chlorine is a poison. Oh, gosh. The things we do in the name of health. Antimicrobial therapies. The association of microbes with cancer has been reported for decades. Pathogenic microbes of different kinds, bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, and helminths, have been found in tumors and identified as cancer triggers. Removing these pathogenic influences is essential to the restoration of a healthy microbiome. And you see all the treatments there. We just have a few more here. Nutrition therapies, which is highly important as well. Imbalances in our everyday nutrition contributes to the genesis and growth of chronic diseases, including cancer. Our nutritional program educates patients on the general do's and don'ts of effective whole food-based cancer nutrition while addressing specific nutrient deficiencies. Magnetic and electrical field therapies. See, now we're getting to the deeper rabbit hole stuff. Maintaining proper electrical potential differences are essential to maintain cellular homeostasis that affects that affects permeability of cell membranes, cellular communication, and energy levels. Key differences between electrical potentials of cancerous versus healthy cells can be exploited with targeted magnetic and electrical field therapies. So there you see electromagnetic field therapy, PEMF. And I think matter of fact, I think Brenda Pierce works with this treatment in her practice, if I'm not mistaken. Because again, we're all about cancer treatment and cancer healing, not cancer management, where you're losing all your hair and you can't eat any food and you're losing all of your body weight. As we go here into exercise therapies, exercise can help speed recovery, reduce side effects, improve prognosis, and reduce the chances of cancer recurrence. We help our patients develop a personalized plan of exercise consistent with their ability to handle physical stress, focusing on low impact, high return options. And there we see vibrational therapy. As vibration, I have a vibration plate here as part of Kinetic Fit and Wellness. It was given to me actually by one of my clients. And I've always been grateful for that, because vibration plates are pretty expensive for the quality kind that I have. They're pretty pricey for a quality vibration plate. But it works when it comes to exercise, creating bone and muscle density and strength. And here, the big one right here, which Dr. Caldwell explains as being the number one cause of cancer: emotional and spiritual stress. So here we look at emotional and spiritual therapies. The connection between emotional and spiritual states and the body's biology is well established using individualized therapies, group sessions, and social bonding experiences. We help you learn the process of restoring your emotional and spiritual state to a health restoring one. And then there you see behavioral, emotional, and spiritual transformations. And again, and it says right here, regardless of your situation, we believe there is hope. So let's talk. And this is coming from Hope for Cancer. Hope for Cancer. As they have this specific facility, there's two facilities in Mexico. And also right here, before I take this down, I just want to go here. Percentage of patients who sustained or improved their quality of life after Hope for Care treatment. And you see the percentage rates here for their success rate on their functionality, their emotional state, their social status, and their physical status, how well they feel physically after their experience at this specific facility, Hope for Cancer. And you see the statistics are pretty impressive, pretty impressive. So this is just an option on some of the things that we can do on healing ourselves of the cancer diagnosis as I come out of here. Just know, as I wrap up here, just know that, and I'll repeat it, and I'll keep repeating it every time I do these shows. As Dr. Leonard Caldwell has always said, there's no such thing as an incurable disease, only incurable people. Because for every malfunction in the body, there's always a root cause. And so when you find the root cause, you simultaneously have found your cure in most cases. So just know that there are other options that are non-toxic and that are non-invasive. Your body won't be emotionally and physically and energetically taxed by doing an alternative option for cancer healing. So just keep this in mind as I sign off here. Go to my YouTube channels, The Kinetic Hour. Go to my YouTube channels and subscribe. Tell everyone you know to subscribe. Tell everyone you know to leave comments. Tell everyone you know to leave comments regarding the comments so we all can have learning and teachable moments, no matter what your opinion is about cancer, because there are plenty of opposition when it comes to alternative options or natural options or non-invasive options or non-toxic options. There's always oppositions to them because the standard for the last 50 plus years, officially documented in US legislation, is that when you have a cancer diagnosis, the only standard protocols that will be presented to you will be chemotherapy and radiation. And I'm here to tell you, along with, there's plenty of other people, I'm not the only one, that are here to tell you that there are other options for you and all of your loved ones. Because I've known too many people at this stage in my life that have gone through chemotherapy and radiation, and I've seen what the results have been, and they all haven't been as positive as the mainstream would like for us to believe. There's always other options, and we collectively need to exercise them. So again, as I sign off, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to all of the shows that I've done this year. Thank you to everyone that's been tuning in. Thank you to everyone that subscribed to my channel this year. Tell everyone you know to subscribe this upcoming year, as I'm going to bring new shows and bigger shows and new guests so we all can have learning moments and have fun within those learning moments. So, as I say, thank you. Until next time.